What's happening, guys? I'm TechSource, and in this video we're going to be checking out the OMEN X2S, the gaming laptop with dual screens. This thing is pretty cool. There's a 6-inch 1080p touchscreen right underneath the main display, and you can use this to do a lot of useful things, which I will go over later. So the point of this video is to kind of demonstrate how we can use the secondary display, because if you're planning on picking up this particular laptop, then you're most likely interested in using that second display. I've been using the laptop for over a week now, and I found some pretty useful scenarios where the secondary display comes in handy. But first, let's take a closer look at the laptop itself. So this is a thin and light gaming laptop with a metal frame. The keyboard deck has been shifted towards the bottom to make room for the dual screen, and personally I prefer this layout a lot better. I find it more natural typing this way, and I don't have to worry about getting in the way of the trackpad. It's also nice that they included a detachable wrist rest, which I found useful when typing. All the keys are individually lit, and you can control the lighting through the OMEN command center. For connectivity, it has a total of 3 USB 3 ports, an HDMI, and a USB Type-C, which is Thunderbolt 3 compatible. However, I would have loved to see an SD card reader. Upgrading the laptop is really easy. You just need to remove a total of 6 Torx screws and you can get access to the memory and storage. With the RTX 2070 Max-Q, I was able to game comfortably over 100 FPS in most titles. And since the monitor has a 144Hz refresh rate with G-Sync, the games looked even better. The one downside I came across while testing this laptop is thermal throttling. The OMEN X2S is using liquid metal instead of regular thermal paste, which is supposed to help with thermals. But unfortunately, with that extra screen on there, the thermal design isn't as effective, and the laptop does thermal throttle. All the games I tested on the laptop at peak performance did experience throttling. Okay, so let's talk about the second screen. If you know how to use it properly, it can be very useful for gaming and productivity. Let's start off with use number 1, which is streaming. Having a secondary display for the chat section is super useful. That way you're not constantly alt-tabbing and interrupting your game. You can keep playing and glance over whenever you want to read comments from your viewers. I would say this is pretty useful if you're a streamer constantly on the move. You don't have to always bring your monitor with you. You could just use the built-in display. Use number 2, gaming while multitasking. Let's say you're in a match and you're waiting for the next round to start, or you're waiting for the map to load. Well, instead of alt-tabbing, you can use the second display to do whatever you want. You can pick a song from Spotify, you can glance through your Twitter or IG feed, or if you're really cool, then you're probably in my Discord server hanging out with me or checking out the Dank Memes channel. Use number 3, you can monitor your temps while gaming. Instead of overlaying that information in your game, you can use that second screen for that. The one downside to using a second display while gaming is the angle. Because it's flat on the keyboard deck, you have to constantly glance down and then glance back up every time you want to use it. So it can take some time getting used to. Use number 4, screen mirroring. There is a pretty cool feature from the OMEN command center that will let you mirror any part of your screen. For example, if you're playing a game where there is a minimap, you can highlight it and it will show up on the second display. However, I think this is more effective in mobile games, to be honest. Use number 5, which is my personal favorite, productivity. I actually edited this entire video on this laptop and I found the second display pretty useful. Since the laptop has a 1080p resolution, the preview window is pretty small. So I ended up moving it to the bottom, which not only made it larger so it's easier to see, but I was also able to expand my timeline, allowing me to add 3 more tracks, which improved my overall workflow. And since the laptop is using a 9th gen 6-core processor, I was able to cut and play back 4K video pretty easily. I found editing on this laptop way more efficient than other laptops with only one screen. Also, if I'm writing a script for a video, I like to use a second display for Spotify, or sometimes I would jump on my Discord to see what's up. I definitely don't think the second display is a gimmick on this laptop. You just gotta find something to take advantage of it. Now, is this a replacement for a second monitor? Absolutely not. If I'm at home, I would much rather connect this to a second, larger display for multitasking. However, if a laptop is all you got and you're constantly on the move, then the secondary display comes in very handy. The OMEN Command Center also has a nice update with a bunch of new features. If you click on the My Games tab, you can find a visual list of all your games. You can even customize it and add any game or application you want to the list. For example, since this is now my editing laptop for travel, I like to have my editing program on here as well, along with the games that I play. However, I can add apps or games that I use often to my favorites, which will make it a lot easier to find. Another pretty cool feature is the reward section, which I think a lot of you guys are gonna like. So basically, you can complete challenges and win some pretty cool prizes. For example, here's one that says you need to play Overwatch for 30 minutes and the prize is a $5 gift card to Domino's. There are also sweepstakes that you can enter to win some pretty cool gaming gear like the OMEN Mindframe headset or a keyboard. But the best part about all this is that it's really easy to do. They're constantly adding cool new challenges and you can track your progress here as well. And that is it for my video on the OMEN X2S. Despite the thermal throttling issue, I still recommend this laptop. The second display sets this apart from the competition, and if you can find use for it, then you are really going to enjoy your time using this laptop, not only for gaming, but other stuff as well. I'll drop a link below if you guys want to check it out. As always, thanks again for watching. I will see you guys very soon.